So this is accidental alchemy. I was trying to melt some coppers the other night with an oxyacetylene torch directly in the mold. And this is just a bunch of stuff that I've had lying around from my first attempt at melting copper in a crucible in my foundry. And it's been sitting outside in the rain, getting green, corroding, caked in borax, whatnot. But apparently it had collected some of the aluminum from a previous pour in the same crucible. This must be why people say, hey, use different crucibles for different metals. Because when I casted it and I just, wadded it all up, it was just a bunch of little wires and slag bits and whatnot, and tossed it in the mold and hit it with an oxyacetylene torch. It was very bizarre. The way it behaved was like it wanted to solidify instantly, like it almost had a higher melting point than just pure copper, which is crazy because copper melts at 1985 Fahrenheit or something like that, which is like 50 degrees hotter than gold. So it was slagging up like crazy, and I tried to scoop off the slag, and most of these little ridges and stuff on here is from me picking and scratching the top of it as it was molten with my little dross scoop, and then pitching that dross aside. And after everything cooled, I realized all of that dross it's this aluminum bronze. So I don't know why it doesn't like to behave. I don't know why it's so difficult to cast or pour or melt or whatever. Maybe that's just because I'm making an alloy for the very first time, unbeknownst to me. And this is almost a smelting process, and it just needs multiple melts in order to be refined further. But this is what I would say Bob Ross would call a happy accident, that I accidentally made some aluminum bronze, which has been the goal for a long time. I have been meaning to do this on purpose. After I process all of my scrap metal and have it all segregated in, these are copper ingots, these are aluminum ingots, and what other metals I may be melting, in order to begin this process of making some aluminum bronze, because my ultimate goal is to make a bunch of aluminum bronze in order to make some drum cymbals, and maybe some musical instruments. I did notice the ting that it has is quite lovely. Listening to the ting. Sorry, I'm holding it too tightly. It gotta have some the musicality of this particular blend is much more pleasant to the ear than pure copper or pure aluminum when you flick that stuff. So I think there's a lot of potential here. Triangles, bells. I mean, crap, they make trumpets out of brass. I just don't want to mess around with zinc. I had a bad experience, and I don't want to experience that again. So I'm interested in. I mean, I could also just use this for knife bolsters or guards and pommels, and who knows what else. So maybe even some rock climbing descent devices and things. Maybe it'll be a little bit tougher than just pure aluminum, having that copper added into it. So yeah, I'm just geeking out on this. Like, this was accidental, and I can only imagine that the first humans that entered the Bronze Age came by that accidentally because they were smelting some ore that had some impurities in there that, they were like, wait, where did we get that stuff? Let's go back and grab some more of that, because this metal has a altogether new property. It's got the toughness of aluminum, and a more malleable, nature, like copper, and it's heavy. I can't snap it. I can feel it flexing a little bit, but I mean, it's not. Oh, I'm not gonna do that. That's way too spiky. It's that must be what causes all of those musical reverberations. Is there's springy, and there's a springy sponginess to it, where you can bend it. Let's see what I can do with this. Will it snap? Will it bend? What will it do? If I can find a comfortable spot where I'm not just gonna bleed. So many sharp edges on this. I mean, it really needs to be refined anyway, but maybe if no, it's too. It's only a couple inches. It's too small to try to bend it over my kneecap. It's pretty tough stuff. Let's see if I can pluck this. Ooh, oh, okay. So here we go. That demonstrates a certain amount of malleability. Come on. Focus. Let's see. How do I show you? I think I might need to just get my face out of frame. So it's malleable, like copper. And it's not just flaking or breaking off like aluminum tends to do. So it's got some ductility to it. That's interesting. Let's see what the grain structure looks like. See if I can pluck this off. Okay, so now I've bent it 90 degrees. And it still hasn't flaked off. Are there any cracks? Nope. It's much harder to bend than copper wire, that's for dang sure. Oh, man. Sharp edges. So I've got it basically back to straight. And I think it's work hardening because it's getting way tougher to move. Does not want to move now. So That is definitely a work hardening material. So in order to bend that joint back, okay, so now it's probably going to be more brittle. So let's bust out the pliers and snap it and see what that grain structure looks like. Science in the Jeep, peoples. Okay. Ooh. There we go. Okay, so it looks like it's got some bubbles in it, but that's expected. Holy cow. It's pretty micrometer-y. That's already a pretty homogeneous piece. So when I render that down again, just to get the rest of the slag and obvious, dark chunks of nonsense out of it, and that's straight up like charcoal dust and soot and slag and gross nonsense, little pits and pockets. I mean, there's pieces of little bits of copper that haven't fully melted, and what there's it's accidental alchemy. All right. So once that gets melted down again, knowing what it is, I'm currently doing research on aluminum bronze in order to try to find out, well, what's the best way to do this? What's the best application for it? Are there any additives I should add? Do I need borax? What kind of crucible is best for this kind of stuff? So, I feel like I have a PhD now, compared to what I would know if the internet didn't exist, because I never would have been melting metal in the first place if it weren't for the internet. So, this whole thing has just been one heck of a really fun, cool experience. Just being able to learn how to do this on my own without knowing an expert and having to pay them to teach me how to do alchemy. Just figuring it out. Watching some YouTube videos and figuring it out on my own. This is like, well, wait, what else can I do? And it's like the spark that lights the powder keg of imagination and creativity. Well, man, if I can do this, I can bend steel. Maybe I can melt steel. Maybe I can, holy cow, can I make like Wootz steel by magnet fishing and collecting iron dust and then putting it in a crucible and melting it down and then hammering it over an anvil over and over again. And metallurgy it's almost like an addiction. Once you get started on it, it's like, oh man, I learned how to weld. What else can I weld? Oh, I could make this. Holy cow. Stop paying people to make crap for me at ridiculous rates. Just do it myself for the cost of a pack of $10 welding rods. Who'd have thunk?